Hello, everyone. Welcome at the Second Glance Artist Talk. My name is Miroslav Karić, and I'm working as a curator in the Museum of Contemporary Art Belgrade. Also, it was a great pleasure to be a part of the expert jury team for the selection of the artworks that were presented on online platform at the Second Glance. At the Second Glance is a project and open call that were initiated and created by Austrian Cultural Forum on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Austrian Cultural Forum Belgrade, as well as the 185th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between South Austria and Serbia. The open call in that sense was aimed to the works that reflect, mention, how to say, historical relations between two countries and go beyond clichés and prejudices that Austrians and Serbians have about each other, for example, also reflecting in a way on the possibilities of changing these clichés and prejudices. The title at the Second Glance of the open call and the whole project suggested that the works of art actually themselves thematically also question different views in relation to what is taken as a granted and suggesting different, in a way, perspectives to what seems to be at the first glance. Due to well-known global situation, pandemic circumstances, the first phase of the project was actually conceived as some kind of specific virtual gallery, showcases artworks of 10 Serbian and 10 Austrian artists. And we hope that we will have selected works in some very near future also exhibited somewhere, outdoor or in a physical space, in a physical gallery space. I have to mention as a member of the expert team jury that during the selection of the process of the artworks, for us was more than that we are in the role of the selectors. We having in mind that we have to curate content for this in a way specific exhibition format. In that sense, also when we were thinking about program of the artist talk, we also wanted in a way to show and interconnect, how to say, viewpoints from the artists coming from Austria and in Serbia. For today's edition, how to say, or issue of the artist talk, we have with us Mr. Adrian Feix, director of the Austrian Cultural Forum Belgrade, and also dearest artists Hannah Stippl, Ivana Ivković, and Marina Marković. And I will start with Hannah Stippl, born Viennese. And I have to read a little bit. It's rich biographies, and I just glimpses, what they did in like past year with their artistic work and practices. Hannah studied philosophy, art history, and painting at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna, where she in 2011 finished her PhD studies in the field of landscape theory. Hannah is best known for her impressive landscape paintings which playfully balance at the interface of ornament and image. In her works, she connects research in the fields of mythology, feminism, or ecology with individuality, emotion, and beauty. She splits her time between Austria and Spain. Ivana Ivković from Belgrade, well known by her nomadic style of life and encounters to different cultural surroundings. Those kinds of experience influence her work, which is evolving between personal history and collective memories, but also with a strong focus in a way, how to say, on a shifting these infamous classical roles between men and women. And she exploring those mentioned issues in her drawings, performances, and site-specific works. Marina Marković from Belgrade finished MA in a painting department from the Faculty of Fine Arts in Belgrade, where she currently in a PhD studies in the field of the new media. Since 2006, she has exhibited extensively worldwide and also participated in numerous artistic and residency programs, including also in Austria, the famous Q21 Museum Quartier. Body and embodiment are the central focus in Marina's artistic practice, and the field of thematic research in her case, dealing from the personal experience to the consideration of the complex, how to say, social questions posed in relation to a woman's body. For the beginning, I have a question, And it's unavoidable in this sense because we are speaking about this platform and the project. Tell me, what actually triggered you to apply for at a second glance open call? What kind of aspect actually you find interesting in this main theme? Is this relation between two nations, between two cultures, or this issue of the shifting perspectives, or possibility to break the existing, how to say, clichés and prejudices, or it was possibility to initiate a new collaboration or to create new work on a certain topics? We can start with Hannah and then continue with Ivana and Marina.
Thank you for this very nice introduction. Yeah, I applied for a second glance because I happen to have quite a lot of Serbian friends. So I know a little bit more about this relation between Serbia and Austria. And I also have to say the Yugoslavian war was for me a very touching and difficult time because of having these friends and seeing how they suffered, and also to see this collective condemnation people had against Serbian people. So, of course, it was interesting for me, and I took the chance to go on with a quite old work, Alles möglich, Everything Possible. It started in 2005, and I made a kind of Serbian edition for this.
Hannah, just to add, please, if you can volume up a little bit, you know, I have some problem with the sound.
Okay. Can you hear me now better?
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay, so I come very close to the computer. Let's
okay.
make it like this.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. And now we will continue with Ivana and Marina. I know that it's actually their first collaboration. They're like know each other for many years, you know, but it's the first time, and this actually the open call was opportunity for them to finally collaborate on a common piece. Please, Ivana and Marina, tell your experience related to this open call.
I mean, actually, Marina and I, we were waiting opportunity to make joint work, and this came up to be a great opportunity for us. And it was so natural because suddenly we realized that all the works about prejudice and stereotypes that we could think about and work about are coming from our history of friendship, which is most often happen to be in Kafana. And then we decided to like just organize visually and like artistically something which is for us really like a real life experience. So after this work actually we started to also inspired by one collector's let's say wish or some suggestion and proposal. We started to do like joint drawings as well. So somehow our work as a team came out from our friendship and of course artistic background.
Yeah, and both of us, we have a very instinct, like how to say, like artistic practice. Like when you see Ivana's work, you cannot, think that it's somebody else's work. Like it's Ivana's, and the same is with me. And it's also nice, to shift a little bit the perspective. Like how are you dealing with some, I don't know, phenomenon or something in a different way? And I think that collaborative works are actually the best way to to overcome yourself. So it was good because both of us, we do have works in our portfolio that are dealing with prejudice, for example. So we could apply with something like I could apply something with a body, I don't know, like corporeality issue, and Ivana could do something with gender. But it was.
You mean like with a separate works, yeah?
Yes. But it was actually like really inspiring to do something that it's not, our usual artistic approach. The way of thinking, or the way, even the aesthetic of it,
even the medium. For me, the medium. I mean, this is my first video work in a way of directing the video, not only like performance, documenting the documents of performance. So this was in media, like something that we step out from our comfort zone or whatever. So it was really...
that will be actually related to the second question that I will have especially for the work that you create for the open call. But it's interesting that you start in collaboration. You are continuing after Štimung video, you know, also to work.
We are now
on the drawings and so on. But what was also the idea for the whole the second glance project and connection between Serbian and Austrian artists? And I would like to see in some future also collaborations, and we are encouraging actually those kind of links and also connections. For example, Ivana and Marina and also Hannah, for example, in some future, you know, to see some joint work.
Yeah, I mean, also the invitations like this. I mean, the ideas of the whole platform and second glance are very inspiring for artists, because sometimes when we have a subject to think about, like actual subject of the exhibition, and then the open call, not only by invitation, I think it's very important, those kind of processes to exist for artists, because then we feel freedom to express some of the ideas, even to make with this budget for production, new work. So I would say that these kind of initiatives are very, very important, and it should be good to have them more. I mean, especially in Serbia, because of course it's okay sometimes to be by invitation, curators to think about certain artists and certain artworks, but this kind of open call really makes some progressive approach to production at the first place. So for us it was really, really interesting to do this kind of work from the scratch. I mean, to make an idea, then to suggest that idea to performers, like who are real people, Branka and Vladica, then to make the whole cooperation with the bar where we were, you know, set our video shooting, and after the post-production of the work, the new cooperation with editing. So it's the whole new world that came out of it. Then some curators saw it from the different parts of the world, ask us to show this work the other places, which also connects to its second glance platform. So now we know that behind everything is the Austrian Cultural Forum, and for us it's easier to communicate from the medias to then other curators, because now we are institutionally, let's say, supported, which is very
interesting also to tackle for example, one of the questions, you know, when we are mentioning the artwork that you apply for the second glance, actually in which way you can see, for example, those works presented in a physical space. Now they are created for online platform, you know. Also to think about that will be further questions. And regarding to that, you know, I will, because I'm sure that the audience is eager to hear more about the works that you presented on an online platform. And I will start with Hannah. Hannah, it would be good to tell about research that you now developing actually and working on, like for almost 15 years. When we are speaking about the project, everything's possible. What was striking for you to start in 2005, 2006 to collect job offers that you first find on a newspaper? With this project, you actually raised so many questions, so many topics. You know, we can actually have only one thematic artist talk, and those questions are very important when we are speaking today about unemployment, self-exploitation, precarious work, or feminized labor. You know, all those issues you tackled within your piece.
So it started at a very personal point. I had a friend and she was looking for a job, and for more than 1 year she could not find it. And so I was thinking about this question of how to describe yourself in a way that somebody else will hire you. And there is a huge topic of self-optimization. So, but how do you self-optimize yourself at the lower end of the social pyramid, let's say like this? So what can you offer? Even if you have nearly nothing or only yourself, what can you offer? and which word do you choose to make these offers? So I started to look around and to collect self-descriptions. Okay, so sorry, this is maybe the first picture is how in the 20s people were looking for jobs, and the other one is, the other two are ads from newspapers. And if you now are looking for a job, it looks a little bit like this. And I think the one above is also in the exhibition. I used it. And what is visible is that many of the people who write these ads, they don't have, there are many mistakes in the texts. So what I do when I transfer this, I take out all the text, the mistakes, because I think I don't want to, in a way, prey on these mistakes people make. Yeah, these are three different ads. One for ironing, one for a care job, and the latest for the last for sex work. And this was, when I showed it in galleries, this was a big discussion because people are not used to see these offers also as job offers. Yeah? And of course, it's simply an offer for a job. Yeah.
And when you said like that you collect from the newspapers, it is like a local newspapers or like international newspaper? What kind of newspaper they are actually publishing those job offers?
I used a lot of regional newspapers, like in Austria, Kronenzeitung was one of the most important ones, because there are many job offers inside, but also these ads from prostitutes, which later then were taken out. But that was the starting newspaper. And now I find them on online platforms from, yeah, Willhaben or wherever. So.
And did you notice some kind of a change when you like looking at this like 15 years ago and now regarding the content, or I don't know, profile of job orientation, or did you do some kind of statistics actually throughout the years?
Well, I'm really not doing this in a scientific way, so I'm also not regularly looking to the ads. But what I saw is that there is something very new. It's all those care jobs. 15 years ago, care was not something people were looking for a job. I don't know why, but now this is really a big thing. There are many offers and also many agencies who yeah, offer people for work.
And you actually you're following how to say you're actually following no matter it's like I don't know, people from former Yugoslavia, I don't know, or just like Austrians. You have like not specific focus in that sense.
No, I don't have a specific focus. I just more or less collect everything that I think is interesting. And I normally I simply write it down on index cards. And yeah, and if I do an exhibition or some other work, I take out those cards and yeah, make a kind of
it's interesting. Maybe you can show now just like the setup of that work, you know, the structure and the way how you presented actually those.
So this is one paperwork I did with those cards. So I went through it and combined all those ads where somebody is looking for work. So, and it's quite funny because there is an ad, or there was an ad like man is looking for work, nothing else. Mm-hmm. Or pensionist is looking for work, nothing else. So I never asked if they did find work with an ad like this, but you see in a way where it goes to. And then the next one. Mm-hmm. This is also, I took it also for the exhibition now. I think this is the worst one I found in my whole life. Mm-hmm. I have a translation, wait.
Yeah.
So I hope it's quite okay. So here is written, cheap, willing, without taboo. You can decide. I surrender myself to you completely. There is nothing I do not do. And I mean, people put things like this into a newspaper, and I'm sure, yeah, I'm very concerned about things like this, to offer yourself in a way. There's nothing I wouldn't do. So.
And what are actually the feedbacks from the audience? Or you mentioned some kind of reaction that you had in a gallery space regarding that.
Yeah, in the gallery space, there was a kind of discussion if I really should include sex workers into this kind of work, because they that was one thing. Because this is something completely different. They are not looking for a job. And I said, yes, but this is work. It's not fun. But people still think that the women who do this, they do this because they want it and have fun with it. And I don't know. And yeah, this was one of the...
So, this work definitely, as I already said, you know, needs some kind of depth analysis, you know, in all fields and all the issues and topics, you know. So, and definitely for one separate, how to say, artist talk, or like thematic artist talk with, for example, other artistic views, or artists who are actually exploring those kind of issues.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hannah. I will continue with Ivana and Marina. Just for this first part, actually presenting the works that you actually apply with at the Glance online platform. And Ivana and Marina, it would be also great to hear more about your, but you already mentioned first collaboration. It's interesting to have some kind of insight which way your artistic practice is actually merging in this video piece, and to introduce us to this very special characters of Branka, Vladica, this also, how to say, moody atmosphere of the Guvernanta bar. Yeah, and the whole process actually behind the whole, with this very good title, Štimung.
Okay, so Marina is very experienced in the Branka's performances. Branka is a folk singer from Belgrade who actually stayed to be kafana folk singer, which is specifically related to her having performances within the small bars or restaurants all over the Belgrade. She was always performing in edgy places because her type of energy is like that. I mean, edgy in the most beautiful way, very eclectic places, because she's one of a kind in making possible to connect people from very, very different backgrounds, and as we mentioned in our statement of the work. And that was the main reason to include her in the work about prejudice. I mean, while Branka was singing in a couple of places near Savamala, which is an old Belgrade center, people were coming from directly from job, like third night shift workers. Then, you know, like in the same time, intellectuals, left wings, right wings, nationalists, homophobes, LGBT population, like somehow when she sings, and it's always some kind of adaptation of classical folk singing. And I must admit that it's nothing to do with the turbo folk music. It's only related to more traditional way of singing traditional songs, and some production of folk music, which is you know, like mid 90s, but not what's happening after with something which is the most popular as turbo folk. So she's more classical folk song singers, together with Sevdah music, for example. And so Marina invited me before a couple of years to join her to Branka's performances, because she knows from before that I like a fan of myself. So we are going to her performances for a longer time. Also, you know, Mitja, that we are inviting people from abroad, like curators. I mean, what could curating do? The whole initiative. Once once happened that we invite them like 25 people from abroad to Branca's, which is telling us that is really possible for people who are not for foreigners to understand this type of emotion. So we had in our experience that Branca is so communicative as a person and her way of singing, which makes these performances possibly to be wider, understood in a wider context.
Yeah, actually, whenever I have a guest from abroad, from, I don't know, when my friend from Argentina comes, or curator from Vienna, I brought half of the class of art and science in Agevante to Branca's. And, you know, like each time when somebody comes and wants to see, I don't know, true Belgrade and something authentic, you know, yeah, of course we have Skadarlia or something, but that's not like, this is so specific, and this is actually what Štimung is about, like, you know, moving towards something unexpected, like so she is actually making, I don't know, Japanese curator dancing on the table, you know, which is quite. Even like that curator told me, like, oh my God, I never thought I would break the glass, I would dance on the table, like, you know, it's not like it's a Balkan culture, like, you know, like, so, but that's also a prejudice. So it's also like actually Štimung has so many layers of prejudice, or like how you read something, like, so
multi-layered of it. But together with now in a newer history of Branca's performances, she's invited by owners of Governanta Bar, which is let's say LGBT friendly conceptual space in Belgrade, like a cafe, bar, and whatever, in the city center. So this combination, when we discovered it, it came naturally to us that we should actually show to people very unexpected as well and twisted connection between Vladica, the owner of Governanta Bar, who also likes to sing because she spent more than half of her life and childhood in Sweden. So we know that diaspora always keeps the connections with Serbia, also through music. So Vladica really understands the local music, our music, and as well textually. She knows by word every song. So when we saw together Branca and Vladica, who helps from time to time, because it's very, you know, like Branca is singing for originally 5 to 6 hours. It's really, you know, she needs conditions. Intense. So sometimes Vladica is just standing with her on the scene, and this specific act was enough for us to describe a new kind of sisterhood, totally new. What Dennis says, post-folk feminism.
Yeah.
So post-folk feminism. Curators actually already named it, so now we know that we are feminism. And these two women, they are creating something which really breaks down the prejudice and all the stereotypes. Also, Governante is not a specific kafana; it's really contemporary bar in a manner of Lynch movies, with this floor and the whole Buddhism composition behind. So visually and meaningfully, this was enough for us to make a platform for
yeah, because it had so many layers already that only by just staging it, it has all the questions that we wanted to trigger already.
Yeah, to rethink. So yeah, those two women are very authentic. And what is the Štimung telling the stories about stereotypes? It's wider way. It's not only Serbian stereotypes about the Austrian culture or vice versa. It's more about society and the individual. So somebody says, don't treat the individual, don't cure the individual, cure the society. What we are trying to say with this work is that to be open in that way, we show them really like this, we really open them both, you know, like, and their own authenticity. We need to learn how to treat this, you know, like sensitivity of an individual within the context of society that tries to make us all blend in one expectation. What should we do as Serbians or as Austrians? How should we look? What should we do in our lives? How to spend our times? What to be expected? You know, not even that we can say so much things about kafana singers, but then Vladica is also subject of prejudice, but both wise, not only from the side of LGBT non-sensitive people, or I mean, and how people are describing her, but also from people who are expecting from her to be a vegan, and she really likes to eat meat. Like, even we are the victims of political correctness as well, you know, because sometimes, you know, we are stuck between, you know, always some expectations from us to be this type, or, you know, as we are an artist, we should look like this, and it's like, sometimes we think, no, that's not exist, you know, we are more than this, but actually we are not, and we are not passing the test of stereotypes daily basis. So I mean,
and we have this, for example, like interesting story behind actually that Branka has a plan actually to go to Vienna and to sing in local bars and so on. And actually the whole thing is actually supportive from your side. Who did the selection of the songs? Did you have some like very precise selection? We want to have those.
Naturally.
You know?
Naturally.
It came naturally. Those are the songs that they are usually like to sing to each other. Like when they are singing, it was so flowy and so like they are communicating. It's a dialogue. It's a totally like a dialogue between them two. So we let them. And then while we were editing and while we were translating, Ivana did amazing translation, like a poetry translating. Then we realized actually there is also like a deeper meaning, you know, when you translate the discourse of
chosen song.
It's a really, like, you can really put so much in between the words.
We had that part, you know, it was a little bit problematic with the sound, so we had a problem with sound, to be honest, and then that's why Vladica's singing is not so evident in this video, but they sing half-half, which is good. They are supporting each other. Anyways, when we started to translate and to choose the songs where the people we thought that this context of female position, it's so visible in for example, patriarch system of the Balkan, in all of those songs, and how also the foreigners understood, this is engaged work, because you are showing the parts of the songs which are telling about female love, female passion, and at the end, you know, she's singing some Sevdalinka song, where she says like, "Dear mother, don't curse him. He promised that he will take me as a wife." So, and Marina's mother asked, "Are you pointing out that it's necessary to have this, you know, legitimation from a man, approval?" But actually, it was fun to translate and to see how the emotional code is changing when you are translating into English. And we had this situation with Ja sam Jugoslovenka, I'm Yugoslavian woman, which is a very common song here because it's telling a story about the countries which does not exist anymore. And people are very happy and sad in the same time when they hear this song in kafana. So we try to make a contest in the Instagram how to translate it. I'm a Yugoslav woman, which will be the correct, or I'm the Yugoslav woman, which is more
like a phenomenon,
like a me. And then we were like deciding, and then I said, stop anything. It should be with a capital letter. I'm Yugoslavia, because she is now, when we sing it, we are totally projecting ourselves to the country. So it's total identification. So that's why we decided to put I'm Yugoslavia, because it's that feeling. So yeah, it's multi-layered work, as kafana is a multi-layered experience.
Definitely. For me, it was interesting, you know, when we are actually coupling the artists and so on, to have Hannah and both of you, you know, in this kind of connection. You know, there is also some other links and similarities, and also common topics that you are throughout your works actually tackling. But I wanted to ask you before I go there, actually, is without, or for example, out of this video format, in which way you can see your work presented in a physical space, in a gallery space? Štimung.
Which way we are
in a physical space.
Yeah, in a gallery space, you know. Now it's like
huge projection, like
huge projection. I think it's really important to be a human-sized projection, because you need to be present there.
Maybe even with a
little bit bigger. I mean, with this kind of rounded project. We were thinking a lot, but what we know, that would be like a projection, definitely. Because we construct the scene like this, it's a little bit diagonal angle to make you more present in the space, like you are entering the door and then see the scene. So it's really important, the contact. Now it's hard to decide, I mean, fully how it would be, but definitely on a bigger scale.
No, actually now we are making something like Štimung 2 or something. So it should be a performance, or it should stay like a video. It will grow in mysterious ways. But actually it's fun to think how what is the best way to
present
it.
So that can be also for us actually to reflect on which way it can be presented, you know, in a physical space. But as I already started, you know, I want to continue actually with these links that actually exist between your artistic practices when I'm speaking about Hannah's and both of you. And I'm again going to the Everything is Possible, but also other Hannah's work, and a special link with the Marina's works. For example, two of you having this kind of different actually approach to the, let's say, in which way we perceive, create, or recreate the image about oneself, actually, you know. From one side, you have like job offers, you know, creating the image that will be, how to say, published or so on. And the other side, you have like desirable image that is actually forced through the mass media, and in a way, it's, how to say, forced us to create image about us, actually, in which way we are looking, or I don't know, behaving, and so on. It's completely different, how to say, content and format that you are exploring, but the same is actually this starting point with this creation of an image. Also, Hannah, you can start actually with your works. Besides everything possible, there is also other works that you are dealing with this issue.
Yeah, for me, very often text is quite important, maybe because I studied philosophy, so that's the side part on it. And this often gives it's the starting point on many of my works. And then there the other very important thing are pattern. I work a lot with pattern, done with pattern rollers, or also with stencils, or wherever I can get them.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe don't know exactly where you want to go with.
Well, you also, because we were speaking about job offers, in some kind of advertisements, and also Marina in her work dealing with different type of advertisements, and how to say all these. It's in common, when we are speaking about creation of an image of someone, through the advertisements. For example, in your case, job offers, how you will create the picture of yourself, and also in Marina's case, it's opposite way, in a sense that it's image that is, how to say, projected through mass media, for example, and the effects on the how to say, on the people, in which way they want to look like, or to create image about themselves.
Well, yeah. Well, most of my works have that a little, I don't know, like I was like most of they're dealing with that constructed image that is coming from the media, or so. Yeah, like maybe like when I was younger, like it was even more like consumeristic, or in a way, for example, the consumer whore, the video work that I was actually taking. It's like a 700 commercial to make a video. So it's a video collage, or like most of the works I did with anorexia neurosa, they were taking that imaginary, like from like before after like photos. Or,
I will show something. Yeah,
you can share the screen.
Yeah, like for example, consumer whore. Yeah, it's TV commercial fragments that I like edited in a way that they are actually making a 5-minute like orgasm that is lasting for 5 minutes. So I made like a connection with that, how female body and how female sexuality is exploited in that way to sell. So yeah, it's actually like at the beginning of my artistic career, I was obsessed with commercials and ads. So
yeah, in that sense, I saw the, how to say, similarities, and especially Hannah, in your case, in this position desired, if I remember well, the project, and also urban camouflage.
Yeah, these are two different project. Position desired also works with job offers, but only for the military. And the urban camouflage, this is it. It started with this photo out of a newspaper. I have to say, I don't remember which newspaper it was. I only kept this little snippet. And I was stunned by these lots of different pattern, and this camouflage soldier who should blend into a landscape, but stands out very harshly in this living room situation. And after this, I went more into, I was interested in camouflage actually. And I came to the whole topic of so-called urban camouflage, because more and more the fighting is in cities. And as you see here in a city or in a house situation, these guys are not very good covered. So I realized the American army is trying to make better camouflage for fighting in the city. And yeah, and then I did this kind of work. This is one part of it. I found a text where they talk about this urban camouflage. And it's a quite long text, and I divided it on many paintings. And I wanted to make this very delicate kind of pattern in the background, which come from pattern rollers where you did the walls. And the text, it's only one sentence per painting, in a way also blends into this painting. And you nearly not see it, but if you see it and if you read it, it's quite a harsh opposition to this nice painting. Yeah, this is only one of quite a lot of these.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, in which way you are, three of you actually directly, indirectly, actually dealing with this in a broader sense, for example, patterns or orders or systems. For example, in your case, it's like, how to say, constitutive visual element of the paintings of your work actually. And for example, in Marina's and Ivana's work is actually, this is the, how to say, thematic line, you know, that they are dealing through the performances, through other, how to say, artistic mediums, and actually more dealing into, like in your case also, more directed to the patterns when we are speaking about social behavior, or for example, like interpersonal relations or gender relations and so on. So I think that in a way, it's one of the common, what I found is actually one common thread connecting your artworks, you know. And Marina and Ivana, what you can add to this, for example, topic of in which way you are dealing actually with the patterns, orders, and systems within your practices?
Okay.
Problematize or like thematize those issues.
Да. Okay, we will share again the patterns. For example, in my case, let's just see. Yeah, this is a specific type of pattern which I do in performances. Like for example, this one from October Saloon, like lines, rows, columns. When I took the representation of 5x5 kilims, like traditional carpets, with the 25 guys and the palm trees, which was in a way a pattern. So I mean, in a wider sense, it is a story about patterns. Or for example, here I'm using like basically now I see when you mentioned that I'm using a pattern when I'm rethinking this a line between drawings and the performances and traditional objects. Kilims were like work with kilims, with the carpets, old carpets, was like in a way my deconstruction or construction of the certain aspects of taboos and myths in society as well. I mean, from the fact that the drawings on kilims, we can follow them from Balkan to India. I mean, it's the same line. Even in South America, for example, I always find the same and similar patterns that exists like worldwide, connecting traditions and drawings in a very specific form, which is related to a female representation. For example, in Balkan region, when you are getting married, you are taking kilims as a miraz, like as a what you are building a marriage, and that transition of a female perspective, female emotion, and female pain, and the heritage is going through the line of carpet. So you can follow the line of your roots. So and then I use the carpets in different forms and to be recognizable as a pattern coming from Balkany. You see the photos? Okay, so you see it. Okay, so this is the one. I will just show some more. Yes, Marina is also using patterns now. She can describe.
Well, I was like, especially I wanted to show from my anorexia diary, like how I would, because I was, beside I was anorexic, I was OCD, you know, in a big way. So I made the tables with the calories, with everything. Like I was obsessed with making an order, and you know, to actually to press my body to be in an order that I was projecting. So especially in those works, and maybe like I was making patterns more visible in a way when I was mapping my body on ideal measurements. Like I did that as a live performances. So I did in New York around the breast, around the waist, around in Belgrade around the breast, and in Geneva around my waist, for example, in my hips. I did tailor measurement tape tied in a ideal measurements. So I was dealing also with those kind of numbers and making an order where there is no order. So in order to deconstruct it, so you know, because it's applied on a live female body, so it will expand and fluctuate, and so yes, we are using in a different way. So,
in a different way, definitely these repetitive, how to say, structures, you know, and also interesting in Hannah's case, actually, that you are exploring that phenomena within the nature, you know, within this, how to say, ecological also topic.
Yeah, because I think patterns are really important for our how we look at things. We cannot really see every single tree. We see a pattern of trees, and maybe then it becomes a wood, or we see a lawn. That's a pattern, not every single grass or something like this. And I also use this in my landscape paintings. Like you see it a little bit behind; it's not finished. But in a way, it's a lot of different patterns, and in the whole you see a landscape. So you can, of course, you can take out every single and say, okay, this is a leaf, this is a flower, but this is not so important.
So it's also interesting to mention, as I remember, in your last works, you know, you are also dealing it's completely, how to say, on the other line, actually, that you are also involving, how to say, a natural environment as a form of installation within the exhibition that you are making. Can you tell us something more about that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, for many years, I'm also working with live plants in the exhibition. And the idea is to expand the painting into the three-dimensional room. So in a way to have this, the installation of the plants, and then to blend in the painting. So this is always very important. And I also do a research with plants, like to where they come from and what's the meaning of these plants. Let's say the cultural history of the plants, because very often in England they have a word for it. It's plant blindness. So people don't see plants. And they are not used to really look at plants. So they don't see the culture behind it and the meanings, and also the art, because there are many people, many artists working with plants and also making plants. Like maybe the most famous is Edward Steichen, who was breeding delphiniums, and really made an exhibition in MoMA with those plants, with the live plants. And they are all lost. So this is also something I'm
It's
collecting.
interesting when you mention like expanding your paintings, you know, with this, how to say, space form, you know, including the life plans and so on. It's also interesting link with actually with Ivana's work, you know, because also her site-specific works are actually this how to say, expansion of the media, you know, of a drawing in her case.
Mm-hmm.
And also when we are looking this situation from the performance line or the columns that she had in October Salon, it's also in a way, some of us who are following her work, you know, since the beginning, you know, we are knowing actually how it goes through from the drawing to the site-specific work, you know, in which way she's also, how to say, step out of the certain media or expand it.
Yeah, I mean, also it's interesting how that journey through the medias, and also journey to the subjects. We all have a couple of subjects that following us through our life. I mean, artistic life, and I mean, it's the same in life, because those are the subjects and issues which we are dealing in everyday life. And for me, it's interesting how, for example, now to come back to Štimung, that has also much to do with our life transformations nowadays. I mean, not only Corona to set new rules and new normalities and new kind of friendships, spending time, and how even more the work is now connected with life. Somehow happened to be that we have less time, all of us. I mean, Corona, nothing is open and we have less time. So it's really reminding me what's really happening, what kind of change is happening. Somehow we are, whoever did that, I mean, we are talking about entities all the time, whoever did that made us to work more and see each other less. So it's the ultimate trend of new age is to don't have enough time. So now to connect life and work is even more important, and it's good luck that we have to, through our works, are having time to spend with and more reason to spend with people as well. So yeah, I'm just like mentioning how important it is to connect what you are really living and experiencing to what you are working about and which are your works are about. So, and patterns are always visible. I agree with Hannah and with Marina. Patterns are a way how we reconstruct the media itself. So when you mentioned that I jumped from drawing into installation, the same way I jumped from drawing to installation and then to performance. So actually what I worked with in a figurative way with drawing and people, now I'm working with regular people, I mean alive people in performances. So for me it's always interesting to follow this pattern, I mean, and some repetition in my life.
You gave actually good intro for when you mentioned like going through the mediums, or it's interesting in a way how three of you actually using and or integrating the text within your work.
Yeah,
it's also different approaches, of course. For example, Hannah is inspired by the Greek poetry. You are using the folk songs, lyrics actually very, very often integrated in your work, or Marina, who is actually tattooing, how to say, words on her body. You know, in which way you perceive this relation, image and words in your artistic practice, as a separate artistic medium, or like additional visual element?
You are asking all of us? I mean,
yes, I'm asking all of you. Yeah.
Okay, like because I started just to finish. Text is really integral in that way. The constant pattern. I started to use text in the drawings as we will try to show. Just
wait. Please try.
First are mine and then yours.
Okay.
Do you see?
No, just a second. No.
I think administrator can maybe.
Yes.
Now you see?
Now.
I see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the drawings, text came to my light installations and objects up to carpets. This, what you see, is the carpet with the text. I am using a lot of messages from pop culture, even from folk history and culture. This is to be a connection with Štimung, for example. This is one very popular song, folk song translated into English, because I'm rethinking the emotional code and emotional background in language, and what is the language to do with our mentality and the culture from we are coming from. So language as a representation of certain one of the layer of communication, and as well misunderstandings. So it's more when it's my approach to language, it's like a story of Babylon. What is happening and what kind of misunderstandings with the words, especially because sometimes I had that exhibition 61 days in Harlem, when I collected one message per day in a New York Metro subway system, and then I totally disincluded the image and left only text. So you had such a potential multi-layer meaning. For example, the text would be who will remember you, and it was only about some kind of food for pets or whatever. So yeah, words are strong, especially when you use them in advertising, and the messaging is all over. We are overwhelmed with messages. So how to really communicate when you find yourself between all those lines of stories, from songs to advertising messages. That would be my story, and as well as a kind of a poetry and diary representation of emotional background of my works.
Yeah, and also in your case, it's very interesting, that very often in your drawings, especially, you have this painterly actually approach to the text, in the sense of this visual, how to say, approach. You actually draw every single letter.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I said it's in two-way streets. And now do you see this drawing now?
No.
Stop share again. We will share.
And then start again.
Yeah. So. No. Okay. So this drawing is a representation of how actually you draw the letters, as you mentioned. So it's really two components: visual component of words and letters, and the meaning, and the philosophical meaning, or whatever it is. So I think it's for me, for example, title of the work is also the very crucial part of the work. When I do a performance, I'm coming from the title, because title is making me the platform of message, is making me a context. So somehow I'm thinking through words. One very close person to me said, but you're on the first place a kind of a writer, because you're thinking through words. And I could say it is true. In a way, it's true. I'm more thinking through messaging than visually. Visually, it's also very important to me, but the message I see as meaningful message, as a philosophical message, as a word. So it's really interesting when we think about its very deep story, how from which part of us we create the artwork. Because I think all the arts are in the same field of, it's like you can choose how to represent the idea. It's not so strictly related to only visual or only words. So somehow it's a free flow between totally different segments of art.
And Hannah, in your case, I think it's a project Raising Artemisia, if I remember well, when you were starting to, how to say, involve the words and text, actually the poetry.
Yes, I think, as Ivana said, words are strong, and you can completely change the meaning of a painting if you use the right words. And I like it, like in Urban Camouflage, it looks like a very nice painting, but there are these really kind of hard words on it. And so the whole thing becomes a different meaning. And I also like to work with words because you can see a painting with one look, yeah. But text is much more a time-based thing. So you have to read. It takes some time. It's slowly. It does something in your brain, and it also sticks to the word in a way. They go with you, even if you forget what was on the painting. But the words, they have this thing. They rotate in your brain and go on and go on. Yeah, and I use very, very different kinds of text, like from ads from the military, poetry, philosophical text, yeah, whatever I'm drawn to, or what I think it's interesting, or what I want to get out in this world.
Yeah,
I use it.
And in Marina's case, we have actually a premiere of a new work within the upcoming exhibition, yeah, Articulatie.
You see?
Can you tell us more about that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, this is the last one. I use text a lot, but it's more like some mantra. I don't know, like it's repeating something that is like, and it's, for example, this
pattern.
Yeah, this one is actually from one of my video works where I have an empty uterus, like an ultrasound, vaginal ultrasound of the empty uterus. And I was recording my grandma, my grandmas, my aunts, all the women in my family for 6 months. And I was recording whenever they start talking about that, how, like, what are the roles or for the woman, or like the according to, like, relating to motherhood and everything. So, and actually and they're all raised in the different ages of patriarchal society here. I'm from village, so they are all like kind of traditionally raised women, but in different stages of heteropatriarchat. And then the sentence that is actually repeating more than 50 times in the video is nije tvoje da biraš, which means it's not yours to choose, or maybe it's not up to you. Mm-hmm. And actually they are all repeating that. And that's not their thing, for example. That's not their knowledge or their opinion about it. It's something that is learned, you know, so something that is infiltrated like a program for them. Mm-hmm. So for example, for this exhibition, I did a tattoo. I have 70 tattoos on my body. So this is, and they're all my works. So for example, this one is on the belly where the uterus is, and it has many, of course, many layers. It's something that they are repeating to me as an advice, as a, you know, something they want the best for me, but they're saying it's not yours to choose. So I did this in order to deconstruct it, as always. So I use text mostly in this kind of way, but it's something that is
in drawings as well.
Yeah, in drawings a lot. Yeah, I'm even making like I'm like putting notes to myself while I'm drawing. Like
we can mention our new work, which is Meet My Demons, and tells the story about when we are talking about patterns, what we are using as a patterns in our drawings, and also a text that we use to represent our patterns and what they are about. So it's interesting because now we joined different style of drawing into one drawing, and it's like in a manner of surrealism, for example, when you continue the other people's drawing, but on a different, I mean, visual.
Even like we are now like finishing the sentences in the drawing. Like I write something
it's
and then
cool collaboration.
Now we made a couple of conceptual unities, like for example about motherhood or about sexual experiences, gender roles. And it's interesting how the stories are combining and colliding into each other. So I mean, Štimung made it possible. So thanks to a second glance platform.
Definitely. So we, during this talk, we open so many fields, you know, so we can for sure speak like in hours, you know, and we will have to organize some like sequel, second, third part or something like that, as Hannah mentioned on our previous talk, you know, maybe second part to be in Vienna or in vivo. I would like to, you know, so I'm again at the beginning of our talk, you know, and the whole idea for the online platform came in a way, you know, due to the circumstances we are now facing, like for over a year. And I wanted to, for the end, to ask you what you see as a challenge for the art world in this moment of the restrictions, closures, online transitions, and so on.
Yeah, maybe there is a lot of challenges, but I think there are also chances, because the online talks and the online openings and everything, it's also the possibility to reach out to far broader public. Like if I want, I can be at a opening in, I don't know, in Belgrade, in New York, wherever. I don't even have to move. So in a way, this is something I enjoy. On the other side, of course, to be locked in and to have to stay at home and not to meet people, this is hard. But at the beginning of the whole situation, I realized that many people are really, in a way, enjoying the possibility to simply concentrate, not to have to run around and not to meet people every day. So maybe what we can learn is to take our time to concentrate, and on the other hand, to that the whole world is open, but via online, whatever.
Thanks for sharing the view on this very, how to say, actual theme, you know, that we are facing these days. And Marina and Ivana, what's your viewpoint regarding the challenges, risks, benefits, or even challenges?
We would be, I mean, it's hard to say, but some of the aspects of our life happen to be, and also social life happen to be much more developed than before. I mean, I spent some time in California because I was locked down there. I mean, I was blocked to come back home. And everybody's making fun of me, like you were stuck in California. It's like a joke or whatever. But actually, it was much more harder to me to be stuck there, because different cultures, different settings are making this story about COVID-19 different. So I think it's not possible in Balkan region to make full lockdown with people, because majority is not following the strictly regulations. So we saw that it's much more different to be in Belgrade in Serbia while COVID, except the police lockdown that we had at the beginning. We are still having the opportunity to see each other on some levels, and of course being responsible in the same time. It's very personal how people are deciding in this situation to keep up with mental health. So it's not for every person, it's very individual. Some people can stand isolation easier. Some people are having very hard time. So it's really sensitive topic. And as well, we have this responsibility moment, and as well, but somehow we found our way to act reasonable and create art. I was a part of a couple of exhibitions, real exhibitions, you know, Miroslav Selman, and then, you know, we are seeing each other, cooperating. Now we are working together with this articulation project in Pančevo. It's a different way of opening. We have a wider opening, not set into 1 hour and everybody is there, but now it's easier with the spring because people can be outside. During the winter, we were finding our way to make lots of online application processes, create works on our computers, seeing each other in a safe groups, let's say like this, and that makes us even closer than before, which then help us to produce our works.
And plus, we cannot travel.
So we are,
so we have to stay here and work.
Be more focused.
Main obstacle.
Main obstacle is running all over.
No, for example, for years, both of us, we were traveling a lot, like having a nomadic life. So this is like a amazing opportunity for both of us to be at one place. And
finally at home. Finally at home.
Finally at home and finally focused and finally, so it's not black or white. But if you ask me personally, I can't wait everything to come back. I'm not for new normalities. I really, I respect the online form, but I really think that there is something with traditional openings, and I'm really happy to see people at the openings soon, because this is a special way of being close with people and share experiences, and we sometimes have opportunity to see each other only at the openings and the drinks after. So if you ask me personally, I'm dreaming about the moment when we would be again in this, but I'm saying again in Serbia, it's very, very like that as well now. So it's a kind of, and it's not everywhere the same.
Definitely. But here with us is Mr. Adrian Ivković. And it's actually a good intro to ask him, do you think it's possible, can we hope that at certain moments in near future, we have an exhibition at the second glance in a physical space or outdoor, to have this like official opening, people getting around and enjoying the art?
Yes, thank you very much. I first want to congratulate Hannah, Marina and Ivana for their participation and the very interesting contributions that really somehow matched the idea that we had, and I think that the curatorial team also developed with contributions that really build this bridge, and we hope that somehow through this online format at least we can keep this bridge alive, and so thank you very much also for discussing and keeping the artistic dialogue alive. So coming to your question, actually, yes, I can announce today, it's more or less confirmed, that we will have at least an outdoor exhibition, because outdoor is the space that we hope will be safe even from mutations, all these terrible mutations that are coming. So we hope that in autumn we will have an outdoor exhibition. Of course, it's a slightly limiting format because there are many video works, and we have some here also. This is not easy to show outdoor, but we'll at least provide some stills and the link to the platform for people to engage. And so as a transition phase, that will be possible, and hopefully next year, when we have completely won against the pandemic, against the virus, we would of course like to have traditional exhibitions, or either a group exhibition or some individuals, some pairings that we're developing now, or some other ones, but at least physical presence in a physical gallery with physical artists, and that's the goal. The second glance platform was there to bridge the gap between the Corona time and the post-Corona time, and bridge the physical gap between Austria and Serbia that has now unfortunately appeared. But we would very much like to come back also to a normalcy. So let's say old normalcy. Of course, it will be some formats like this might be useful in the future as well, but they won't be the only ones. And I'm very much looking forward to having Hannah and other Austrian artists here in Serbia, and make something in the physical world again.
Let's hope that it will be in a very near future. And it's interesting when you mentioned the outdoor exhibition and so on. I think that it will be a special challenge for the selected artists, to think the new formats, how to present the artworks,
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a challenge because it doesn't fit. It's not a natural way to present these artworks, but we thought that it's better to put it out there for a wider public to see, as a first step out, to go out of the virtual world back into the physical world, and then, as I said, hopefully next year back in the galleries and museum spaces.
Thank you. With this great news about preparing the outdoor exhibition, we are coming actually at the end of our artist talk. And I want to thank you all for participating, you know, Hannah, Ivana, Marina, Mr. Fikes, Jelena. So I would like to ask audience to follow us, to stay tuned with at the Second Glance artist talk coming more soon.